Spark Books here. Today, I'm going to explain the book, Lead with a Story, by Paul Smith. Take care, enjoy the book, and have a nice day. Lead with a Story, 2012, teaches you how to enhance your skills as a great leader by harnessing the power of storytelling. By taking examples from one of the most successful companies in the world, you'll learn how to craft a great story that motivates people and modifies their behavior. Key idea number 1: successful businesses tell stories. Why are soap operas the longest running TV shows? Finally, stories engage all learners. 3 learning styles: 40% of us learn visually, 40% auditorily, and 20% kinetically. Visual, auditory, and kinetic learners are drawn to stories by their images, language, and emotions. As you can see, corporations use stories to teach. We'll discuss story-improved business areas in the next few sparks. Answer: people adore stories. Good stories, whether soap operas or page-turners, captivate us. Storytelling has benefited more than just writers. Many companies have corporate storytellers, including Nike, Microsoft, FedEx, and Costco. Why do firms hire corporate storytellers? Customer and employee messaging relies on stories. Storytelling has been the main way humans have learned. Before the printing press, much information was passed along through storytelling. Storytelling is unique. First, everyone can tell and learn from stories. A good story can captivate anyone. Stories also stick. Statistics and facts are hard to recall. According to psychologist Jerome Bruner, telling a tale makes us 20 times more likely to retain these data. Finally, stories engage all learners. 3 learning styles: 40% of us learn visually, 40% auditorily, and 20% kinetically. Visual, auditory, and kinetic learners are drawn to stories by their images, language, and emotions. As you can see, corporations use stories to teach. We'll discuss story-improved business areas in the next few sparks. Key idea number 2: customer stories enhance customer service. When was your last great or bad customer service experience? Did it make you write a "how are we doing" comment for the customer service rep? Yelp? Reviews help companies. These tales allow customers to exchange customer service tips. Ray Brook visited Portland, Oregon for 2 days of meetings. He chose National Car Rental because he didn't live in Portland. At the desk, he was horrified to learn that his driver's license had expired a few days before, thus the company couldn't lawfully lend him a car. He was in trouble. How would he get to his meetings? National Car Rental drivers drove him to his meeting, hotel, and another meeting the next day as he waited for his license. They drove him to the DMV to renew his license. Brooke was impressed with their service and wrote to National's CEO to thank them. Impressed, the CEO began telling this story to his workforce across America. Brooke's narrative of National employees going above and above set the new standard. A good customer service story is pointless if nobody knows about it. By giving customers a place to record their experiences, leaders can learn a lot. You could build a story box on your website, send consumers self-addressed envelopes to share their stories, or just search customer review sites for corporate anecdotes. Key idea number 3: stories can best convey a company's beliefs and culture. How many companies say they put the client first or that their employees are the most important component of the business? Customers and staff view these nonsensical communications as commonplace. Stories, not slogans or empty promises, effectively convey a company's beliefs and culture. In 2011, expats in Egypt fled to airports as the revolution became violent. Most flights from the nation were cancelled owing to uncertainty. P&G employee Rasul Madadi and his family fled. Madadi called P&G to escape. The corporation bought him and his family 5 flights to avoid airline disruptions. After one airplane took off, the firm made sure Madadi had lodging and groceries. They prioritized him. These stories are worth $1 million. We value our employees' platitudes. It demonstrates a company's ideals. Stories help workers grasp expectations. Since these expectations sometimes differ from the rules, this is significant. Companies may state they offer flexibility for expecting parents, but consumers typically worry they will lose out. Stories bridge the gap and boost business morale. P&G's website features stories of new mothers who've benefited from the company's flexible working policies to show others that they have nothing to fear. Key idea number 4: stories help varied team members bond. Most large company employees don't know each other well. Most of the team won't go past "nasty weather today, huh?" or "did you see the game last night?" with us, but 1 or 2 employees may become great friends. As a leader, you want employees to connect. How will you overcome this? Through stories. The best method to establish team ties is to encourage story sharing. Jamie, the team leader, struggled to make work friends. The crew shared stories at a bonding session one day. Jamie talked about his brother, who committed himself due to bipolar disease. The anecdote brought his group closer and made most of them cry. He was more than a coworker, he was a multifaceted human being. His personal story made him relatable. It strengthened his team's camaraderie, making him happier at work and his team more motivated. Stories also help diversify teams. Diversify your team's abilities and experiences because diverse teams outperform homogeneous ones in business. However, forming such a team might be challenging because some people unintentionally mistreat others. However, stories allow team members to express their pain and assist others understand and adjust their behavior. Key idea number 5. Company policy is best communicated through stories, not rule manuals. Have you read all your company's policies? Even C-suite executives probably haven't. How do you learn the rules? Trial and error, doing what you think is right and then changing after being reprimanded, is the easiest way. However, this strategy can only teach a few people a few things. The average employee breaks how many rules? Leaders can use stories to educate employees about corporate policies and personal experience. New P&G hires are warned about 2 trainees who exploited the complimentary cafeteria service. They continued stealing lunches after working for the company. The canteen had lacked security, so they got away with it for a while. The corporation assumes only eligible users will utilize it. However, their greed won out. They visited the cafeteria so often that staff became suspicious and called management, who caught and fired the cheaters. This story's lessons? Whether they've read the rules or not, employees understand they can't abuse the company's kindness. A short, intriguing story may explain policy. Key idea number 6. Even in hard times, stories may encourage staff. Imagine finishing a long, exhausting project and wanting to slow down and start a new, exciting one. Your boss disagrees. How can she encourage you? She could go on about giving it 110% or give you a moving story. The story of Tanzanian runner John Stephen Akhwari can inspire us. Akhwari fell during the 1968 Olympic marathon and dislocated his knee. He could have quit, had medical care, and gone home. Nope, he stood up and continued in pain. Akhwari entered the stadium an hour after the winner crossed the finish line, cheered by others who lingered. He was questioned why he continued afterward. My country sent me 5,000 miles to finish this race, he said. Leaders might utilize his or similar stories to motivate workers to finish the job, knowing that others would respect and adore them. Such tales can also deter mutiny. Managers might encourage employees with tales of organizations that overcame adversity. P&G's Pringles sales started well but eventually declined. They didn't abandon the project for simpler earnings. Based on customer input, they improved their recipe and relaunched Pringles, making it a top chip brand. After seeing how powerful stories are, our final sparks will show you what makes a wonderful story. Key idea number 7. Only context, action, and a result make a good story. We learn that stories have beginnings, middles, and ends in school. Scientifically, context, activity, and result are needed. CAR. Business is like schoolchildren. Who wins, hero versus villain? Should they follow the hero's route to success or consider his story as a cautionary tale? Background. The audience needs background to understand a story. What needs context? Start with your story's setting and time. This clarifies the story's veracity. You must also define your protagonist, her goals, and the antagonist. When setting background, aim to make your story relatable to your audience. Leave out superheroes and kings because audience members will pay greater attention to relatable stories. After setup, you can begin. Your hero fights her adversaries here to achieve her aims. In your scenario, an employee may fight his boss to implement his innovative company idea. Your audience doesn't need details here. Just give your hero a fair mix of triumph and failure. Your hero's actions conclude your story. Who wins, hero versus villain? Should they follow the hero's route to success or consider his story as a cautionary tale? Key idea number 8. Emotional stories work best. We haven't defined a plot after all these sparks. A good story evokes emotions regardless of its subject. However, you want to evoke specific emotions. You must evoke the correct emotions to inspire your audience. If you don't run a pet business, telling a touching puppy anecdote will make people cry. In the 1980s, litterbugs plagued Texas. The government published ads showing a Native American crying over litter-damaged environments to discourage littering. These advertisements were touching but ineffective. Environmentally indifferent folks and Native Americans littered the most. The government then made an ad starring Texas's biggest sports personalities and entertainers, linking littering to Texas's destruction. The litterers were proud of their state and heritage, so hearing their hero's anti-littering message resonated. These commercials immediately reduced Texas littering by 72%. How do you choose emotional connections for stories? Customer surveys provide the most stories. In 2008, P&G interviewed customers about the recession. They received many responses expressing concerns about paying expenses and maintaining their way of living. If they wanted to sell a product that saved customers money, these stories would have evoked the correct emotions. Key idea number 9, to engage and remember your audience, include surprises. As a conference speaker drones on for hours, your eyes grow heavier. How much of the narrative will you remember after he finishes? Probably negligible. Surprise makes stories more memorable. Try to include frightening events at the beginning. If your novel is set during a revolution or a stock market meltdown, utilize this information to set the context. Your audience will be captivated right away. Surprise towards the conclusion helps your audience remember your story. Memory consolidation occurs after we experience something, so surprise at the end lingers. Attaching memories to stimuli during consolidation can make them stickier. Adrenaline is released when the body is shocked or surprised. Thus, ending with a surprise helps your audience remember the story. Creative tale structure can help position surprises. Take this tale of perseverance. He was fired at 22. He lost his state parliament bid aged 25. At 34, he tried again for Congress but failed. He ran for Senate at 45 and 49, losing both times. 2 years later, he was immortalized as Abraham Lincoln. Withholding the name lets us tell a simple story with a memorable twist. Successful leaders use storytelling to teach and inspire. Storytelling can improve every part of your organization, from better customer service to defining your culture and values. To view more content like this, subscribe. Don't forget to like and turn on notifications. The channel really benefits from it. I appreciate you being here.